was supposed to be a joint live stream with Smallfish over an hour ago. However, it seems like there are some technical issues with YouTube today in regards to that joint live stream. So we're just going to go ahead and do our own thing, and hopefully maybe we can figure out what we were doing wrong. I don't think we were, because we were getting live, but people couldn't see me if I was on him, and we couldn't even go live if I was on me. So I don't understand. Hey Jake, I see you there. I mean, I'm just trying to explain to all the good people out there our technical issues that were going on with the joint live stream today. Not quite sure what was happening there. But for those of you that were patiently waiting for that, we apologize. We're sorry. I don't even know if it's on us at this point or if it was on YouTube for the joint live stream not working properly as it should have. I'm not really certain. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and do some of this right now. So let's get into talking about what's been going on in my fish gallery today. And also, since we weren't able to do the joint live stream properly with Jake from Smallfish 16, special shout out to Jake from Smallfish 16. For one, it's the man's birthday, and we couldn't even make this happen on his birthday. For two, it is Smallfish 16's birthday, so go check out his channel, give him some love, and you know, go see what he's got going on. I've said it many times. We've plugged each other on both of our channels before. You know, I'm mostly African cichlids, and Smallfish 16 is mostly South and Central American New World cichlids. It's got some really pretty Oscars over there. But let's go ahead and get into talking about some things. Now, we have talked about some of these updates and some of the videos in the last couple weeks, guys. Maybe, you know, there's a couple things I think that I might not have spoken about when I updated, which we will kind of go over now. And maybe I'm repeating myself. I don't know. I kind of tend to do that. Redundancy, right? So, but, you know, as everybody knows, we've had this pothos up here for a long time. And you see, like, this one's doing way, way better. That is one plant right there. And that one wasn't. So, two different boxes. So this now has two systems of roots shooting off of it. So now I have all of these on clear acrylic boxes. Not as aesthetically pleasing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I mean, I think when you step back and you're kind of observing the fish, you don't really see it so much. However, you know, it is noticeable. Maybe it's just a me thing. Let me know what you guys think down below, whether or not you think that those clear acrylic boxes with the roots in them are really taken away from the tank or not, or maybe it's just one of those psychological things, if I'm just pointing it out, that it's more noticeable. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of rambling about something silly, though. But our Buccochromis, Lepturus green here, as you can see, really kind of making his way up these ranks. Check out all the dark under his throat and his pectorals, real nice and dark. He's definitely been making his way up there. Thanks, Jake. Yeah, I mean, I like the plants too. They do a lot of things, you know. I've talked about it in several videos before, I think, but, you know, having plants in your system really helps. And one thing that can be a challenge with keeping African cichlids is finding a way to have plants in your system without having your cichlids destroy them. So this is why I've elected to go for pothos, and I have these clear boxes holding it up. So one, plant's not in the water, fish cannot destroy it. They're gonna tear it up. They're African cichlids. There are very few plants. There are a few plants you can get away with. I've heard some of the ferns and certain mosses and things like that, but that wasn't kind of the, you know, structure that I was looking for in this system per se, because I just wanted to go with, you know, the aragonite and the sand and this type stone and kind of keep it more Lake Malawi-esque, if you will. But so that's the reasoning for that there. But as I was saying, our Buccochromis is really kind of making his way up the ranks. I think that Dolph is our boss again, our big blue dolphin right here. I mean, he's gotten quite large. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe he'll come closer to the glass, but he's pretty much the size of my hand now, height and otherwise. Hold on, there we go. Yeah, it's still a few inches back, kind of hard to see, but I would say that fish is pushing 7 inches, if not more now, and probably close to 3.5 inches in height, and when he fans his fins out, maybe even more like 4 inches in height. Our Buccochromis is our longest fish in the tank, though. Right now, this guy is probably just over, I would say he's just over about 9 inches long now. So he's about a little more than halfway grown-ish. So we'll kind of have to see what goes on there. And then our hawk, Kobe, is probably the second longest fish in the tank. He's just slightly larger in length than our blue dolphin, which by mass, girth, length, everything, I think is the largest fish in the tank right now, by far. Just because he's very broad, very tall. So, but guys, forgive me for rambling on for a bit. Why don't we go ahead and we will feed these guys for you. I don't think it's been a while since I've fed on live. Hold on, I've got to unplug my phone for a second. While we were trying to figure all this stuff out with our joint live stream, I kind of ran down a lot of battery on my phone. So, but it's okay. Got a plug really close, and we'll figure that out. Oh, by the way, guys, just in case anybody wonders, so I got my little Bourdain right here, and it says El Cocinero. Obviously, it means the cook in Spanish. But if you're not sure why I would have Anthony Bourdain on my wall, in my professional life, I'm a professional chef, so that's why the Bourdain. Anyways, enough about my personal life. Let's go ahead and feed these guys right now. So we're going to start off by feeding the cube, and we'll show you a couple things. In fact, real quick before I go ahead and feed here in the cube, let me show you. So Jake, I know you're still here, and I know you said you'd probably take some of these Danio babies from me, but everybody doing really good down here. Our sump babies, if you will. And then we have some more over on this side, and I think some of these guys have kind of maybe found their way into here where all of the media is. I'm not quite sure, because I know there are some that kind of swam through the gaps and are in between here and the divider, as you can see. But we're just going to kind of monitor that. Hopefully they'll find their own way out, and if not, eventually I'm going to fish them out. Just trying to let them do their own thing right now. And I guess my light timer decided it was going to go to night mode for now, so we're going to go ahead put the overhead lighting on for you guys. Let's go ahead and feed the cube. So this might look like a lot of food to some of you guys. One thing to remind you, these Danios, they eat a lot. They are constantly moving, constantly swimming, and pretty much just like any other aquarium fish, they're going to eat regardless if you put it in the tank. Very important, though, that you're not overfeeding in that sense, and you're recognizing the difference between an actual hungry fish and a begging fish, per se. So, got our red Severum right here. He's been doing really, really good. He was one of the fish that had gotten some of the epistalis during the outbreak, and he's made a full recovery, and he's doing really well. Unfortunately, if you've been following this channel all along, you'll have seen that some of this didn't work out so much when we had this battle with epistalis in this tank, but that's fish keeping. Our archer fish back there is growing. Let me see if I can get some bugs out for him and I can catch him eating for you guys. So I'm not going to put the live worms in right now. I'm just going to take some of these dried wax worms, or I mean mealworms. See if I can get him. The Danios really actually, let's see, maybe they'll go after it, because normally when I do this, I have to put the food in first for the other fish in the tank, or the Danios just kind of start going after this. And the archer fish is still very skittish, surprisingly. Kind of working on that with him, but quite skittish. He likes to hang out back in the corner back there. That's kind of his little corner. Does his thing back there, and I think that is, you see he's kind of looking, because that's the way that the water flows in this system, right? So we have our outlet here, and it's flowing around here, and you can see the flow coming this way, and it's going to hit the front of the glass, and kind of, you see that, how it's moving around there. So that's the way the water flows in this system. So whatever's sitting up on top, like these dried mealworms and stuff that I put in here for the archer fish, they eventually are going to make their way back there. Oh, he's coming up. Let's see, guys. Jake, you still with me? Happy birthday to you again, big guy. Yeah, now you guys see, so the Danios are coming up and they're eating these mealworms, and our archer fish is just kind of sitting back there waiting in this corner. I think that part of the reason why this kind of became a thing was, if those of you that have been following along for a while remember, I used to left this, my gosh, I can't talk. I had left this driftwood floating previously, and it was all up at the top, so you really couldn't see from the surface or see into the surface in that regard. And now you can. So I think, you know, for a few weeks, that archer fish got used to, oh, there we go. There, now he got a couple of them. Oh, he dropped that one. For some reason, he seems to drop those crickets beforehand. I don't know, I think maybe they're just a little big for him. I've seen him eat some of the smaller ones, but he tends to go for the mealworms more than anything. But anyways, I think that when that driftwood was left floating for a few weeks, our archer fish kind of got conditioned to everything moving back to that corner back there, and that's why he continually goes back there. There we go. Oh. You see, I don't know. He seems to be kind of selective, but he's definitely been eating in here. He's definitely been growing. He's doing all right. We just need to work on a little conditional training with him and do some spot targeting with him eventually, once we've got him more used to eating up in the front here and not worrying so much about what our Danio friends are doing while they're speeding by. I think that's kind of part of the issue as well, but you know, I think it's just one of those things that's going to take a little bit of time, guys, and once we get there, it's going to be really fun, because as you can see, like, I have this Euro bracing up here on the cube, and what I thought would be really cool, once, how big do the archer fish get, Jake? Well, it depends on the species. So this one is a Burmese archer fish. It's a Burmese banded archer fish, and if I remember correctly, oh, the Danios. Well, as I was saying, the archer fish is probably going to be between 9 and 12 inches at some point. The Danios, not so much. Guys, I've got to put you on power here. I am losing charge on my phone. Hold on. All right. I got you plugged back in. Let's go ahead and feed the big boy tank real quick, just in case I lose you guys. Let me grab the food that I had called out for that. Hold on, guys. I promise I'm coming. Alright. So let's go ahead and feed the big boy tank real fast. Let me see if I can get myself out of the way. I don't normally feed them from this pane, but just so you guys got a really good view, we're going to go ahead and do that. Going to give them a little bit of krill and some spirulina mysis shrimp today. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer on this for you guys now. Oop. All right. So, Jake, you were asking about the Danios in the cube tank. Um, those giant Danios, probably about 4-5 inches thereabouts. But they're in the minnow family, so they're not going to get tall. They're not necessarily going to be really chunky fish or anything of that nature. But approximately 4 or 5 inches, which the larger of the group that's in there, there's two that are a little bit larger than the rest of the group, and I would say they're around 3¼ or so inches right now. But again, not a very thick, not a very broad fish. Would they be okay with the Oscar? Oh, probably. They're very fast swimming, and I know a lot of people are using them as dithers in New World cichlid tanks like I am in the setting that I have right now. I think that as long as you are not live feeding your Oscar, I would say go for it, and it would probably work. Honestly, though, I think it's kind of just one of those things you gotta kind of try it, and I think it's dependent on the Oscar itself. I know that your Oscars were right. Yes, I know you don't live feed, and I know that your Oscars are somewhat docile for Oscars, for lack of a better way of putting it. But like you were saying on your channel, that all those other small fish were in with Biggie, your big Oscar, when you got him, the one that's like 9-10 inches or whatever, and he wasn't eating them. So I mean, I think you could try it. Honestly, I do. I think that if I give you some of that fry, though, you're probably going to have to put them in a smaller tank and grow them up a little bit, because I'd be more worried about your other cichlids bullying them while they were smaller. And, maybe if your Oscar decided he was hungry one day. But, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But, so, see, there's a bunch of Mysis shrimp still kind of floating around here. But everybody doing really beautiful. Starboy here just gets more chips every day. Love this disco ball look he's really getting. Hold on, guys. Let me go ahead and show you, honestly, like, we pay all this money to have nice lighting systems with timers and stuff on our tanks, but I'm going to show you, like, my favorite thing. I got to turn the lights off on my tank to do that, so I might lose you guys momentarily. Forgive me if that's what happens. Hold on. All right, and we're back. So one of my favorite things, and I left the moonlight setting on, and I could turn it off, and you'd see this even more clearly. But this is one of my favorite settings to have these fish in. Just kind of have this track light. One of the lights from this track light is pointed over this way, and it really kind of gives it that natural light look feel, in my opinion. And I really love all this shadow play that goes on behind the fish when you kind of put them in this setting. I see a bunch of people lurking in here. I know, Jake, you've been chatting a lot. I think at this point, if anybody that's lurking in here would like to do any Q&A, let me know. I've kind of got to end this pretty soon because my phone is literally on 1% and I'm running while I'm charging right now. I'm trying to keep this stream going for you guys. I'm just not quite sure how much longer we're going to last before we ultimately get cut off, because I think my phone is using more energy than it does when it's excuse me. I think my phone is using more energy than it is able to charge right now because we are doing a live stream.